Welcome to the official YouTube channel The Gaming Hub. We are always trying to give you most trending news around the globe. In this episode we will discuss about Goat Simulator 3 review. A ridiculous sequel that's bigger, sillier, and packed with more low-stakes fun. Goat Simulator 3, the second game in the Goat Simulator series, was faced with an impossible task. How do you make a bigger and better sequel to one of the foundational joke physics games, a genre predicated on being goofy, kinda shitty, and cheap? Coffee Stain North's answer was to use Goat Simulator's foundation to make a collectathon 3D platformer a la Spyro or Mario 64. The result gave me some genuine laughs, but its clever moments are strung together by exactly the kind of Sammy, stultifying open world checklist experience Coffee Stain often skewers in its jokes. The result is better than the original, but not better enough to recommend. I don't know if I've ever played something as gobsmackingly unhinged as Goat Simulator 3. Developer Coffee Stain North's doggedly rebellious attitude is apparent in everything from the incoherent story to gameplay so over the top that half the time it's hard to tell what's happening. Even the title refuses to play by the rules, skipping Goat Simulator 2 and going straight to 3 for no particular reason. Throw in 4-player co-op that multiplies the madness to even greater extremes as you run rampant through a large open world map filled with things to lick, headbutt, and blow up. And you've got yourself a game so absurd it's hard to imagine being bored for even a second. This deranged sequel is bigger, packed with silly jokes and pop culture references, and one of stupidest things I have ever beheld. It was love at first bleat. Like the original, Goat Simulator 3 is an open world sandbox game that doesn't even bother with things like a tutorial or having any kind of direction with its ridiculous plot, if you can even call it that. Instead it lets you and your friends loose on the world and says go ahead, break it all, as you complete a series of non-sequitur quests and feats of mayhem. You'll do normal goat stuff like drop a nuclear bomb on a cul-de-sac, or cause a trio of ballerinas to turn into a giant tornado that never goes away for the rest of your adventure, or drive cars into your friends until they explode, both the cars and the friends. However, unlike the first Goat Simulator, this time you are given clear objectives and a quest log that guides you towards leveling up your Illuminati ranks, upgrading your goat castle base, and eventually reaching an incredibly bonkers conclusion after roughly 8 hours. The quests are about as insane as you'd expect. In one I was elected president after dragging citizens kicking and screaming into a voting booth with my tongue, while in another I had to infiltrate a facility to unleash a race of anthropomorphic bananas on the world. Oh, and in another, I literally just went bird watching. I really never knew what they were going to throw at me at any given moment, which was delightful. I found the side quests pretty boring. They usually just ask you to headbutt something or drag a person or object to the correct location. I do appreciate their deliberately vague instructions, with experimentation leading to little eureka moments that can be genuinely funny and surprising. One quest asks you to save Steve from drowning in a spa. There's a guy clearly floating in the pond, but when you grab him you find out his name is not Steve, rooting around in the water. It turns out one of the koi fish is actually named Steve and you have to drag it out. There's no health bar and you can't actually be killed by anything, so there are practically never consequences for anything you do, which can be both a good thing and a bad thing. On the one hand, you can throw yourself at problems with reckless abandon, free from worry that you'll ever fail at anything, but on the other hand, it also removes any potential challenge, which means you'll blow through any obstacle before you with relative ease. Instead, the fun comes from inventing creative ways to get things done, like that time I transformed myself into a tiny fish to avoid a security system and pull off a heist. You'll also complete a list of less important challenges called instincts that might ask you to get arrested by the police a certain number of times, or light people on fire, or drive a car up a ramp just for the heck of it, all of which make for good, chaotic diversions. You can also Search for collectibles out in the world, which are often hidden in places that require jumping off rooftops or some such silliness. That said, you're given so many insane and overpowered tools, it's very easy to find workarounds, like using expandable stilts to simply raise yourself up to something's level. Once you figure that out, gathering collectibles just becomes a simple scavenger hunt with no challenge to it either. Instincts and collectibles don't help you increase your Illuminati ranks or complete the campaign, but they do let you earn some extra GOAT points to buy cosmetics. Some of those even have an impact on gameplay, like a rocket launcher you can wear on your back or butterfly wings that let you glide through the air. Alternatively, you could just buy a skin called Tony Shark that swaps out your goat body for a shark riding a skateboard, whatever floats your goat. If you wanted to be generous, you would call Goat Simulator a deconstruction of the open world action game. In the original you could go anywhere and destroy almost anything, but there was no purpose or structure to any of it. The biggest change to this sequel is that there are now traditional mission objectives and progression. Rather than being the modern equivalent of Garry's Mod, the sequel has, at least partially, morphed into a sort of platform style collectathon. Instead of just finding your fun where you can, there are now specific side quests and hidden collectibles, all leading up to a final boss encounter. Invariably though, almost every mission involves either destroying something or bringing it to a specific location. This is achieved by headbutting things and using your tongue to stick, chameleon-like, to objects, respectively. Although you can also triple jump and perform all manner of unlikely mid-air acrobatics. You can also drive too, which seems just as physically impossible. One massive improvement over its predecessor is that Goat Simulator 3's world is significantly larger and even more packed with secrets and chance encounters. Areas include a spooky cemetery filled with ghosts, a large city with skyscrapers to climb, and a wooded area, each of which has their own vibrant list of loopy things to discover. In one hidden area, I played an almost beat-for-beat recreation of the PT demo called Horror Corridor, except with dumb goat goodness instead of the creepy lady. Finding these super weird encounters and Easter eggs is easily the best part of this bizarre sandbox, and often left me in stitches. While Goat Simulator 3 is entertaining enough on its own, the true potential of this big island filled with ridiculousness is opened up when you share it with friends. Not only can you play 4-player co-op online, but you're also able to do so via local split screen, and I don't know if any game has felt more suited for a couch filled with the degenerates I call friends than this one. Causing mayhem with my buddies not only amplifies the chaos with up to 4 times the number of goat psychos running around, but you can also make progress 4 times as fast since everyone can tackle missions on completely different parts of the map without issue. Although, more often than not my group just griefed one another instead of being productive. There are also half a dozen competitive minigames, like King of the Hill or The Floor is Lava, which make for some amusing distractions to pass the time, though they're all pretty basic and lose their allure once you've played them a few times. Running around the open world and headbutting cop cars is just way more fun. The quests do contain actual jokes, some of which are genuinely funny, but the problem is that while Goat Simulator 3 attempts to poke fun at open world games in general, it falls into the same trap as almost all video game parodies, by still doing exactly the same things as the games it's mocking. Pointing out the cliches and absurdities as you repeat them does not making something a parody, just hypocritical. Parodies of specific games, from Doom to Counter-Strike, fare better because the way they are integrated into the game, like the cart ride from Skyrim, can be surprisingly clever and reverential. As you'd expect, developer Coffee Stain never know when to stop, but there are plenty of other gags that don't involve memberberry references, and they're often the best bits, including a weird asteroid-filled platform level and several digs at IKEA. Really the only major shortcoming of Goat Simulator 3 is that it's got bugs and poor performance, though honestly even those issues can feel right at home in a sandbox this chaotic. I found my way into objects I wasn't supposed to get stuck in, rocked the Framerit to terrifyingly low levels during moments of especially potent mayhem, and more. Plus, there's lots of ugly pop in that makes things seem a bit unpolished in a way that doesn't feel like part of the joke. These issues were especially bad when playing in split screen, where an abundance of goats tested the limits of the world's stability, but none of them did much to ruin the experience overall. One of the biggest new features of the sequel is that you can now play along with 3 friends, which makes it probably the only multiplayer game you should play drunk. But even with that new option, we're still not convinced this is a better game. This is more like a real game, but that's precisely why it's worse, given the unmetered freedom of the original was its best feature. The focus in the sequel moves from trying to find your own fun to putting up with the next inane mission objective that, despite all the window dressing, is exactly the same as the last one. You can still play the sequel the same way as the original if you want, but it feels like you're constantly fighting against the game to do so. Goat Simulator 3 is the evolution in idiocy I'd hoped for from this iconically weird series. It almost certainly won't wow you with its level of polish or a deep, meaningful narrative, but sometimes it's a good idea to turn your brain off and buck your hooves into an old lady's face while she fires a rocket launcher at you. With a larger map, more ridiculous references and hilarious jokes, and multiplayer that only enhances the ludicrous good times, I can easily recommend this to anyone with a taste for its silly sense of humor and a few hours to kill. Thanks for watching this video, and do comment on this video and stay tuned for our next update about current trendings and top stories.
Meet Steve, a playful little fish on his way of becoming sushi.
wanted into this damn game. Events, mini games, stupid goat towers. What the hell is a goat tower anyway? And you can't even wait a little while for the perfect boss fight. Fine, have it your way. I'll just have to improvise. Cue! And this. Yeah. Leg sweep. Ow. Ow. Gizmo. Boom. Take this. Look out below.
Charlie. Swear.